Okay, so the next thing that you're being asked to do for the next scenario is to explore the profit or loss if there were no donation received from adverts. So going back to our spreadsheet, what I would then do is change that to 0, and then you should see the profit and loss changing because we're working as a model spreadsheet. Our calculations are already in place. I'm going to screenshot that, move back to my evidence, go to scenario 2, again delete the text box. I'll just pause this while I complete the rest. Okay, so what I've done is I've taken 2 screenshots, first with the highest number of weeks and secondly with the lowest number of weeks, and I've made a comment as to what is happening there with reference to what's been asked for. If there were no donations received, I have shown the highest number of broadcast weeks and the lowest. Both show a loss. So it's very brief comments and just a comparison of the two there with scenario 2. Finally, for scenario 3, she wants to see the effect of receiving different amounts of donations from advertisers starting from £8. There are 3 adverts in each program. What is the smallest donation that could be received for each advert to enable one more student to be trained each year and also to cover the costs? So the first thing I've done with this is go to my spreadsheet, my evidence presentation, and put in what I'm actually proposing to do. Explore the effect of receiving different amounts of donations for the 4 adverts starting from £8 to enable one more student to be trained each year and also to cover costs. Highest and lowest number of broadcast weeks compared. Okay, so we want one more student to be trained each year. So first of all, I'm going to change that to 4, and you can see that the profit and loss changes. We're making more of a loss. So what can we do first of all to try and cover the costs? So let's start to move this back to £8. £8 changes the loss to £68, so it's not too bad. So we don't need to make a profit here. What we need to do is cover the costs. So we need to try and move the donations up until we make a profit. So let's try £10. It's not quite there. Let's try £12. Not quite there. 13. Now we're into a profit. So we don't perhaps need £13. So let's try £12.50. Almost there. £12.55. Almost there. £12.56. And £12.56 does it. So that's our first screenshot. Let's take it back to here, and I'm going to pause while I crop. Okay, so that's my first piece of evidence. Now I need to talk about the highest number of broadcast weeks. So I'm going to change that to 30, and we're now in profit. So we don't necessarily need to be in profit. We just need to cover our costs. So let's change that down to £10. It's not quite right. £11, £10.50. £10.25, £10.40, £10.30, £10.20, £10.45, £10.46, £10.47, and it must be £10.48. Okay, let me just pause this for a second. Okay, so £10.47 is the nearest I get. It pretty much covers the cost with a 5p profit. So that's going to be my next piece of evidence. And I'll just pause that while I do that. Okay, so that completes everything. So looking back, what we've got is something to show us setting up the spreadsheet. Something to show some initial calculating of costs, completing the data and where the data came from. Something to show a comparison with the different number of weeks. We've got a very important screenshot here which shows how the formulas were calculated, which is very important to show all of that. My screenshot doesn't show all of it, so I'm going to need to crop out. Make sure you got all your evidence. You are being assessed on the accuracy of your calculations, and then we've got to show some formatting. So this is you making it look professional. So you're commenting on some of your choices, and then we've got our final two scenarios, scenario 2 and scenario 3. Your scenario, depending on the specification you have, will be different, but there will be similarities in the way you work things out and the way you have to think about things, and it's going to be exactly the same in terms of the way you evidence your work.